I first headed off to India back in the summer of '62. Forbidden to date or smoke before I was 16, this was to be the year of my liberation. Now, more than 30 years later, I'm finding out about a new generation of travellers, and I'm on the road again.
I'm so tired of crying, but I'm out on the road again. I'm on the road again. I'm so tired of crying, but I'm out on the road again. I'm on the road again. Thank God no one to call my special friend.
Nothing had prepared me for the sight of Wadi Rum. Huge walls of rock rising to nearly 6,000 feet above the sands of southern Jordan.
Desert sky.
I'm getting there the hard way, following the camel tracks north across the desert, heading for Amman, the Jordanian capital. When Lawrence of Arabia rode through here, he wrote how his little caravan fell dead quiet, ashamed to flaunt its smallness beneath these stupendous hills. 75 years later, who else should I run into in the middle of nowhere than an English couple from West Drayton, also waxing lyrical about life in the desert. I don't know what it is about the desert. It really has a kind of magnetic hold over you, doesn't it?
I just feel, I don't know, I just feel such peace in myself just to be out in this great big expanse all around you. And I love it. If you can find somewhere high to climb up and just look at everything around you.
It might be, well, I find that it's just a complete reverse of city life. It's just not like it. This is not like living in London.
By no stretch of the imagination.
Several people have asked us, aren't you scared of going to somewhere like this? And there's very little chance of being mugged, is there?
No,
Because
I mean,
there's
you're
no
quite
people.
safe.
And the people that are here are not like that. So
Well, you're a couple of old hippies, really, aren't you? What do your mates think of you back home, you know? You're a sheet metal worker.
it's virtually impossible to relate to other people that don't do it.
Yeah, I don't think they really understand the lifestyle at
They
all.
don't understand it
They
at all.
think, oh, you're going somewhere nice on holiday, and it's not
it's
like
not.
that at all.
Do they sort of think you're a bit sort of
Yeah.
I think
loose in the head?
they can't understand at all. They said to me, where are you going for your holidays now? And I said, oh, Syria and Jordan. And they said, well, why can't you go to Spain or Ibiza like everyone else, you know? And the goats are the goats.
Uh-oh, goat attack. Who says there's no chance of getting mugged in the desert? "33 years ago, when I first hitched through the Middle East, it was almost impossible to reach places like this. Today, it's all a great deal more accessible, but still difficult and dangerous at times if you don't know what you're doing.
Some people been driving too fast. Some people still having a gas. But if there's one thing
You've got to drive fast in this loose, fine sand to avoid getting stuck. At least that's what I thought. Digging this stuff is a bit like trying to drink soup with a fork. There's enough water for me and Ron, the cameraman, but I think Sean should do the decent thing. Well, you prefer to spend the night here?
I'll catch a look for the nearest Bedu, I think. There's tons of them about. I'll be back in half an hour.
Don't bother to come back. It's a good job. Today's Bedouin drive Toyotas, not camels, but it's a sad blow for my traveller's cred. You speak English?
No, I speak English.
At least I've given the camels something to laugh about. Bedouin make it all look so easy. I've been at it for an hour and got nowhere. He sorts it all out in 5 minutes. Three 3,000 years ago, the camel trains came this way, along the silk and spice routes that linked China and India with the Middle East and Europe, across the deserts and through the rugged and precipitous sandstone canyons that lead towards the Mediterranean. One of the greatest points of trade in this area was in fact lost to history for several hundred years before a Swiss explorer in the late 1800s persuaded the local Bedouins to show him the hidden entrance to Petra, the famous rose-red city half as old as time. It's truly an extraordinary place, its buildings, like the treasury, literally carved out of the rocks. Petra was the ancient capital of the Nabateans, nomadic Arabs who first thrived on plundering the camel trains, then taxing them, or even both.
That is unbelievable.
Their great wealth allowed them great extravagances. This building, perched 3,000 feet up in the hills, is 135 feet high and 150 feet wide, and took 60 years to carve. There's something wonderfully romantic about this vast and empty landscape. The power of this place is as much in its timelessness and its isolation as in the beauty of the sunset. Petra's many caves, once the home of the Bedouin, have now become small shops and souvenir galleries for the tourists. In one of them, Mohammed perfects the art of sand sculpting in bottles. He's married to Margarita, a New Zealand backpacker, a nurse who ended up in Petra 16 years ago. So was this a wonderful romantic encounter? Did you sort of wander through Petra and see Mohammed in his cave with his bottles of sand?
No, not really. Well, actually, I was sitting on the steps of the Treasury with my friend, having just walked down from Wadi Musa, and he came up and chatted me up.
Was this the cave you lived in when you first got married?
No, Mohammed had a cave behind the hill, about 10 minutes from here.
But
so
it's
that's
not
where we lived. It was different from this because it was closed off.
Yeah.
We just had one room. Sweep that out once a week. We had a primus and a frying pan and a little blue teapot to make the tea in. And a couple of plates. There weren't a lot of dishes. They never piled up.
Do your family, Mohammed, did they have any objections to you taking a Western woman as a wife?
They don't mind. My father, my parents understand. They say, that's your choice.
Didn't cost anything.
This is my decision, yeah.
Oh, you mean no camels exchanged?
No, no.
Most people have a sort of view of say, a Bedouin woman or an Arab woman who lives a slightly kind of subservient life to the man. Did you find that you had to fall into a new way of living?
No, I never had to.
You mean Mohammed
Well, at
was
the beginning,
enlightened?
when I only knew Mohammed, when I only knew Mohammed, I'd go with him if there was a meal. Usually the men and the women sit separately. I'd sit with Mohammed until I got to know all the women through running the clinic, all the children and all the women. Then I'd feel happy going and sitting with them.
They accepted you quite
Yeah,
well,
well, they see
probably.
a lot of tourists. They've been coming through for a long time, so they realised that other people live differently. Yeah. It was quite different here then, though. It was sort of the end of the world.
It's not exactly the kind of place one would expect to fall in love or even find a date.